Welcome to the CouchScouts podcast. We provide league-winning analysis, advice, and tools to help you dominate your league and build a dynasty. Scout, draft, win. Here's your host, Matt Cooper.
Hello, and welcome to the CouchScouts podcast, episode 85. I am your host, Matt Jackson. With me, as always, I have my co-host, Matt Rupert.
How you doing tonight, my man? Sounds like you had a pretty hectic day today.
Dude, my day has been absolutely crazy busy. Daughter turned 1 year old today, so we've been celebrating her.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, no, man, it's crazy that I now have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Like, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a little crazy to think that life has gone by that quick. I mean,
Yeah,
it seemed like
I feel you, man.
Like we had her just before the hurricane and the floods in Western North Carolina, and now it's like, oh wow, she's 1 year old already. It's crazy.
My boy. We just I just took off work yesterday. My son had their little kindergarten graduation, which was not really a graduation. It was more like a field day with the parents in attendance and a small little ceremony.
As it would be, yeah.
Yeah. They had inflatables, water balloon fights. It was a lot of fun, and it's just so wild. I felt like just yesterday we dropped him off for his first day of kindergarten, and he's already done. Tomorrow's his last day. It's unreal.
I've heard a saying before that the days are long, but the years are short.
Yep.
And I feel that to like a T, right? The big question is, I guess I have for you, did you hit your boy with a water balloon?
I did not. His teacher got him pretty good. He was absolutely soaked, and I just stayed back trying not to get hit myself.
That's what I would do. We do at our youth group at church. We do these water days during the summer. We actually have one coming up this month. And like all sorts of like water balloon fights, water gun fights, like water capture the flag. I mean, it's all sorts of crazy water games. And the kids make it their personal mission to like get me as wet as possible by the time I leave there. So like I always have to make sure I bring an extra change of clothes because like it's their personal mission to make sure that I don't leave dry. So I understand where that's coming from.
Very nice.
But anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about as much as I could sit here and talk about our kids all day long. We're here to talk Dynasty fantasy football. And on tonight's episode, most of us, at this point, Rupert, are through the rookie draft season. We've done most of our rookie drafts. We might have one or two, left over, but we've spent months discussing these rookies, breaking down these rookies down. I think we've beat a dead horse, so to say, on these guys, but it is Dynasty Startup season. Dynasty Startup season is upon us. And on tonight's episode, we're discussing Startup Dynasty ADP. So what we're going to be doing is we're going through guys we think are going higher than they should in ADP, as well as guys that are going lower than they should. And then we're also going to be discussing who we see as values. If you're in a startup, this is going to be some pivotal information for you, guys that we're targeting in our startups. And I've tried to not join many startups this year, but I haven't escaped, 3 or 4 of them. I don't know how many you are in, but it always seems like I joined some at the start of the season. So I'm looking forward to this topic tonight.
Absolutely. Fun time of the year to hop into a startup.
Have you joined any new ones this year, or are you kind of holding steady?
I've been holding steady, even though the urge is so strong. I want to join some, especially, seeing a bunch of league openings and people starting leagues in our Discord. The itch is definitely strong.
For sure. No, and if you're not in our Discord, the Discord is going to be in our show notes. It's a completely free Discord. I'll plug that a little later. Make sure you get in on that because, that Find a League channel that we have on there is just absolutely hopping. And I'm trying not to join every single one, but that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be using Startup ADP from Dynasty Data Labs. They feel like I feel like they have the best opportunity or availability of data points. So we're going to be using them for Startup ADP. And the first thing that we're going to start with is ADP that we think is too high, guys that are going before we feel comfortable taking them. I'm going to start with you, Rupert. Who was your first guy?
One that really just stuck out to me like a sore thumb was Cam Ward going at QB 15, 42nd overall. Nothing against him. I like him as a prospect. by leaps and bounds, we had him as our QB1 in this process. He goes number 1 overall, so he's going to have some job security for years. But to me, that's just way too rich, especially with all the quarterbacks going behind him that are more proven assets. As much as I want to root for Tennessee, living in Tennessee nowadays, they have not shown that they've been able to develop a quarterback. Whether it's Marcus Mariota, Will Levis, pretty much whoever they've drafted has not really panned out. And they at least have offensive coaching staff to build around Cam Ward. But to me, I'm going to go with more for sure guy than taking Cam Ward. There's in this ADP list, there's Brock Purdy, J.J. McCarthy, Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, Bryce Young, and Dak all going behind him. And I would take all those guys over him. Even J.J. McCarthy, coming off an injury, still hasn't played down in the NFL. He's with a proven quarterback developer. He's had a top 10 QB pretty much every year the last 3 years play for him, whether it's Kirk Cousins or Sam Darnold. Nick Mullins in a brief stint, I think, was a QB2.
The Nick Mullins shout out.
Yeah. So to me, I'm going to take him over Ward. He has way better weapons around him and a better offensive proven coordinator that can really develop a quarterback. So to me, I'm going to pass on Cam Ward in every startup if that's where he's actually going.
I think that price it's definitely a factor of rookie fever, right? I mean, we see these rookies, we're like, oh, we got to take them early. It happens every year. I think it's wild, and I didn't list this as one of my guys that I think his ADP is too low. But one of the guys that I was really surprised by was Dak Prescott, right? Being all the way down at QB 21, 64 overall. Like, for as much woes as those Cowboys have in the playoffs, he's a pretty decent, or more than pretty decent. He's a great, regular season quarterback. I mean, all those guys that you mentioned, I would for sure take above him. Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, J.J. McCarthy, even they all have proven weapons, right? And I mean, I don't know if you want to call Calvin Ridley a great proven weapon for Cam Ward. He's a great pass catcher, but they don't really have anybody else. I mean, I think this is a result of rookie fever. So I think that's a great shout out. Definitely going higher than I feel like he should be going. That was definitely somebody that I looked at. My first guy that I think his ADP is just a little too high. And I'm gonna preface this with I like the player, right? I don't have any problems with the player. I think the ADP is a little too rich for me. And that player is Nico Collins, going at 22 overall, wide receiver 8th at the back half of the second round. It would be an understatement to say that wide receiver room didn't get super murky after the draft. And I know Nico Collins is still the wide receiver 1, and he's a great wide receiver 1. I don't want to take anything away from Nico Collins' skill set or anything like that. But when you look at some of the guys that are going behind him, I mean, Drake May in a Superflex league, Drake London, I feel like I would take over him. You got Bucky Irving, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. You look at all of those guys, and while I love Nico Collins, the player, and I think he's a great dynasty asset, I think the end of the second round is a little too expensive of a price that I would feel comfortable paying for Nico Collins. He's got some injury history. The wide receiver room in that situation is murky. CJ Stroud took a step back last year. Hopefully he takes a step forward this year, and Nico Collins gets back to, paying for that second round draft capital. But yeah, for me, that's a little too expensive for my taste.
Yeah, I can agree. A lot of those, even wide receivers behind him, I could see finishing above them. And they added a lot of competition to that wide receiver room. So there's going to be a lot of targets to go around there. Nico's definitely going to be the alpha, but he's not going to see 150 targets this year for sure.
Yeah. So again, not love the player. I think he's a great dynasty asset. I'm just we're talking dynasty value, right? And for value wise, don't feel comfortable with that second round pick. Let's go to your second pick. Who is another player that you think their ADP is just a little too high for your blood?
Yeah, I thought Chase Brown's ADP was a bit high, again, compared to the running backs you can get behind him. He went as RB 16, 58th overall, so he's going in the 5th round. And to me, I'm still a little iffy on whether or not he has a long runway there in Cincinnati. And then you have guys like Kenneth Walker, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara going 1, 2, and 3 rounds later than him. Chuba Hubbard, another one, where I feel like they have just as long as a runway. Like Chase Brown may have one more year, being the lead back there. Where with Henry and Mixon and Kamara, they may only give you 1 or 2 more years of high-end fantasy production as well. So to me, although Brown is younger, I don't feel as confident that he's going to be a guy that's going to give you multiple years. So I would hold off on him and get some of those guys a little bit later.
Yeah, no, I think the price tag on some of those guys that you mentioned, it makes sense, right? They're older. They've got 1 or 2 years left. I mean, I'm thinking about Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, right? Like you're not drafting them if you're rebuilding or if you're trying to go younger, right? So I can understand why they're going later, but you can get the same value, if not maybe even a little better, for the same amount of years potentially, and for a cheaper price tag. Like you look, and I'm pulling it up right now. Chase Brown, if I can find him, what'd you say he was going overall?
58th.
58th, yeah. Looking at some of the guys that are going behind him, I mean, you've got Devontae Smith, Tyler Warren, right? You've got, again, Dak Prescott, Bryce Young, Colston Loveland, Terry McLaurin. You've got Caleb Johnson and RJ Harvey, who we're not crazy about, right? But, I mean, they're still probably are going to perform maybe even better than Chase Brown is. So, I mean, all those guys, I mean, that's another great call out. Somebody that ADP-wise, I don't feel comfortable taking him there. The next guy that I have on my ADP too high is somebody that I actually just mentioned. So I'm going to go back to the well a little bit. It's funny how we do these things sometimes. And every time we do ADP too high or guys that we don't love value-wise, it always feels like, are you really an Eagles fan, I guess? Because I do this same thing every year. But I am so adamant because I watch Devontae Smith every single year. I watch that offense every single year, right? He's a solid wide receiver too. He's not ever going to be an alpha wide receiver. He's not ever going to, rack in 100 catches. But right now he's going as wide receiver 20, 5th round ADP, going at 59th overall. Again, some of the guys, I mean, I've already mentioned them, right? Going later than him. You've got Tyler Warren, who is probably one of the top 2 tight ends in this class and who could smash at ADP right now. We talked about that last year. You got guys like Terry McLaurin, who is the alpha on his team. Going later, you got guys like DK Metcalf. You got, we're talking rounds later, right? You got guys like Jerry Jeudy, like 5 rounds later. Like I think 5th round ADP for a perennial wide receiver too is way more expensive than I feel comfortable paying. And again, this is not, saying that I don't like Devontae Smith. I think he's a great wide receiver. But if you're paying 5th round ADP, like you want to get somebody, I mean, you're potentially at that point taking, somebody that you want to see garner a lot of targets and rack up PPR points if you're paying 5th round capital. And Devontae Smith can do that at times, but with AJ Brown in that roster, you got Saquon Barkley, you've got Dallas Goedert, who still is going to be on the team this year, garnering targets. Like there's just a lot of mouths to feed in that offense, and I don't feel comfortable paying 5th round ADP for Devontae Smith. And it's funny because this is where he stayed his entire career, right? He's always valued higher than I feel like he should be valued. So every time I have him on a team or like I take over an orphan, I'm like, let me see what I can get for him because people are willing to pay more than I think that he's worth.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep there. I agree that that's too high. I'm curious, do you think that this ADP is people projecting that maybe AJ Brown's going to be on the way out of there eventually? Seems like there's a lot of rumblings of him.
There's rumblings. Those rumblings have been there since the draft, right? Like we thought we were going to get rid of him on draft night. That never happened. The GM is pretty much all but come out and said that like that's not happening. So like I am pretty confident AJ Brown's going to be there next year, and if he's there, 5th round ADP is kind of ridiculous for Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you have anybody else that you kind of wanted to mention as somebody that's a little too high for ADP right now?
Yeah, going back to the well with a rookie here, but Matthew Golden in round 7 as a 31st wide receiver, but 83rd overall. It's just way too high for me. He's a guy that seems kind of similar to Devontae Smith. Like that's the absolute ceiling in my mind.
Yeah.
I just don't see him being a wide receiver 1, and there's a lot of guys that you can get after him. Just looking in the next round in the 8th, Ricky Parasol, not crazy high on him, but like him as a player. I probably kind of see him the same way as more of a wide receiver 2. But you got Brandon Ayuk, Luther Burden, Mike Evans, Jerry Jeudy, Tyreek Hill. Like those are all guys that have wide receiver 1 potential. I'd much rather have them in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're getting ready to go into our favorite buys right now at cost. Now that we're done poo-pooing on some guys at their ADP, we're going to talk about some buys. But before we do that, I want to talk about our website, CouchScouts.com. If you are still by chance in rookie drafts, and I know some of those are still getting ready to happen. So if you are in rookie drafts, we have spent countless hours on this rookie draft guide. It is a labor of love. You can get it as low as $5 a month right now, or you can subscribe annually and get a discount. It is your ultimate guide. We have write-ups, we have film grades, all sorts of stuff. So get in there and get that rookie guide. We also have one-on-one consultations, as well as a bonus podcast that we're going to be recording right after this. So make sure you guys get in on all of that free goodies. We've tried to make it as jam-packed with stuff as you can for as little a price as we can. We're not out to get rich. We want to just help people dominate their fantasy drafts and dominate their fantasy season. So get in on that, CouchScouts.com. We also have a free Discord that I mentioned earlier, and that is just absolutely booming every single day. Every time I open it, Rupert, somebody is talking. So over 250 members. Get in there. You can get trade advice. You can get on the clock suggestions, all sorts of stuff, and that'll be pinned in our show notes below. All righty, let's get into our favorite buys at ADP right now, and I guess I'll go ahead and start this first because we've alluded to them a little bit. Both of us have it, our last 2 guys, and that is Jerry Jeudy. Currently coming in at wide receiver 34, 89th overall in the 8th round. I think Jerry Jeudy at cost right now is such a steal. You look at somebody that you mentioned it earlier, can come in and be a wide receiver 1 on that team. We anticipated that maybe the Browns would draft somebody to help out with that. And Jerry Jeudy came out largely unscathed. I think he could have a huge boom plus year this year. He could solidify that wide receiver 1 role on the offense. And I think at cost right now, you're looking at somebody, I mean, you're paying an eighth round pick for Jerry Jeudy. I mean, you're essentially paying wide receiver 2 price for somebody that could come in and be a wide receiver 1. That is just such a screaming value for me. So my first guy that I'm mentioning is Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, I really like that call out. I don't love him as a player, but to me that cost is too good because he does give you a potential of wide receiver 1 production. So really love that call out.
For sure.
My first one is not a particular player. It's more of a trend. There's just too many to really name them all. But to me, there's so many really good quarterbacks that just have too low of ADP in my mind. Anthony Richardson at QB 27, 102nd overall. For a guy that has a ton of flaws and could end up being benched, but he also has that upside to finish as an overall QB1. So for me, that way in the draft, I'm going to take that swing every time. I participated in a mock with Heath Heath Cummings on the CBS Fantasy Football Today podcast a couple weeks ago. And it was a super flex startup draft. And I was able to fade the quarterbacks, go with elite skill guys, Jamar Chase, Brock Bowers, to start the draft and get the quarterbacks later. And I was able to get Bryce Young, Dak, late in the drafts. Sam Darnold was there, and Anthony Richardson. Those are all guys you can get in the 6th round and after. So with those trends, like I would really just tell people to fade quarterback early and go get some elite skill guys. And you can still get guys that are really high-end producing quarterbacks, in the middle part of the draft.
No, I think that's a great thing. We're going to talk about that, or we were going to talk about that, I feel like, a little later on our startup tips and tricks that we're going to go over on Bonus Pod. So make sure you subscribe because there's going to be a lot of talk over there about, startup tips. But that's a great call out. I'm looking at this. I'm currently in a Dynasty Startup. It's IDP. So the values are skewed just a little bit. But however, I'm trying to find it. I recently got Anthony Richardson in the 14th round of a Superflex startup league draft. And that's just like, I feel like the value on him, everybody is like giving up on him and rightfully so. Like I can understand why everybody's giving up on him. I don't think he's going to be what we thought or what people thought he was going to be. I was never very high on him, but no, I think the value on quarterbacks right now is just absolutely ridiculous. So I think fading quarterbacks, like you said early, is definitely a strategy to go by. My second buy, and this kind of feels like, Rupert, we all have guys in Dynasty. You know what I'm talking about, that we can't quit. No matter how hard we try, we can't quit these guys. And my can't quit guy is looking at Javonte Williams at running back 41, 153rd overall in the 13th round of startup drafts. Dallas was a landing spot that a lot of us envisioned. Okay, they're going to draft a running back and they're going to do it early. Well, Ashton Genty went, right? And then Amarion Hampton went. And then guys continued to go, before the Cowboys were on the clock. And I feel like their strategy was altered a little bit. So, when Javonte Williams signed with Dallas, everybody thought, well, this is just a 1-year rental. Like they don't really want to run him very much. Somebody's going to land there. They're going to be the guy that we want to pay attention to, right? Javonte Williams came out unscathed in that backfield minus, like, I think they took Phil Maffa like late in the draft. I'm not really scared. I'm not scared of him. I'm not scared of Miles Sanders on that team. Like Javonte Williams is going to be the lead back on that team, getting a lot of carries. And you mean to tell me that you can get a lead back, somebody that's gaining the majority of the carries, right?
And he's still young.
And he's still young. He's 25 at RB 41, 153 overall in the 13th round. Like that is silly. That's his price. And I feel like it's going to adjust a little bit, but like while the iron is hot, like I would be sending out some feeler offers and drafting Javonte Williams because there is absolutely zero way that he doesn't smash at that ADP.
Yeah, 100% agree. That's a massive buy in my opinion. Agreed. I'm not scared of Miles Sanders at all.
Somebody that saw Miles Sanders.
Yeah, we both have the last couple
have.
years.
Yeah, we both have.
So, yeah.
So who is your second guy?
Michael Pittman going at 124th overall, wide receiver 49. What round is that? Going in the 11th round. I get that the passing offense is less than ideal, but this is a guy that's 27 years old. He went 3 straight years finishing as a top 20 wide receiver. So he was, I think, wide receiver 13 and then 20 and then 13. So 3 years of really, really good production, and you can get him as basically like a wide receiver 3 price.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Yeah, that's just too good a value in my mind for a guy that's not 32 years old. He can get out of the Colts, go to a better situation. Maybe the quarterback situation improves this year. To me, this is silly price for him.
Yeah, for sure. One more guy that I wanted to mention before we get out of here. Again, another player that I just can't seem to quit is Jamison Williams. Going at wide receiver 30, 80th overall, 7th round ADP. I know we hear the buzz every single year. Well, Jamison Williams has gotten better. This is going to be his year that he smashes. But it just sounds like he's coming to this season different, right? He scrubbed his social media. Like the offensive coordinators are raving right now about Jamison Williams. If he finds a way to put it together, I mean, that offense was already phenomenal. Jared Goff is, a really good quarterback. He's another one of those guys that, like at ADP, you could smash his ADP right now.
Yeah.
But if Jamison Williams can put it together, I think he could be somebody that, like, at that ADP, like, he could really smash and turn into even a potential, I mean, could that offense support 2 wide receiver ones? Like, I think it could, right? So I love that value for Jamison Williams.
Yeah, I like it too. I have a couple shares, so I'm hoping
Yeah.
he really hits this year. I agree. I've seen the same kind of talks out of the Lions camp that there's just something different about him this year. So excited to see what he does because I absolutely loved his college tape. We were so high on him.
Yeah.
So glad to see that it seems like he's come into his own here.
Finally putting it together, yeah. Do you have anybody else you want to mention before we get out of here?
Yeah, going back to the QB well, I think this is probably the best buy of them all. Trevor Lawrence going as QB 17, 49th overall. Like the guy is the number 1 overall pick, has all the tools that you could want out of a quarterback. Only 25 years old still, just 2 years removed from a QB8 performance. Now he has just ridiculous weapons with Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. on the outside. Likely the best offensive system he's been in with Liam Cohen coming in. There's already been a lot of talk about raving about the system and, guys have really already bought in. So at that price, that's one of the best buys that I can see that you can wait until let the first couple rounds go, let all the other quarterbacks get snatched up, get you some elite wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, and then come back and get, Trevor Lawrence as a QB.
Yeah, for sure. One other one I also wanted to mention. I've got it on here that the price is a little expensive, a little more than some of the guys we've been talking about. But Devin Achane at running back 5, 29th overall in the 3rd round. I still love that ADP.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting 3rd round ADP for somebody of his caliber, like a top end wide running back 1, and you don't have to pay like the Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs 1st or 2nd round price for it. Like he's in that caliber of player, and you can get him in the 3rd round. Like I personally love that. He's just another guy I wanted to mention real quick before we get out of here. Is like if I could get any more Devin Achane shares, I would be collecting those.
Right. Yeah, that's tremendous value. Like if you could take that strategy of, trying to get a quarterback later, go like a Chase, Brock Bowers, and then Achane, 1, 2, 3, like what a dream kind of draft that would be.
Exactly. Well, that about does this for tonight, man. I hope that was beneficial to you guys. Just some guys that, we don't really love ADP and we're tending to avoid. And guys were like, hey, you need to draft this guy where he's at right now because he's going to just vastly outproduce his ADP. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. You can find me on our socials on Twitter at DevyMatt. You can find Mr. Rupert at Matthew Rupert FF on Twitter/X. And again, subscribe to the website. Join that free Discord. Just lots of stuff happening. We're trying to build a really awesome community here, and it's been so much fun getting to know you as our listeners. So we hope you will join us, be a part of the Couch Scouts. We're looking forward to being back with you guys next week. So we will see you guys next time.